Hey, what's going on? My name is Mick, and I'm posting my day trading journey right here to YouTube with complete transparency. And today was pretty simple. I took one trade. It was for about $155. I was trading 5 MES contracts. It was super simple scalp. I think I was in it maybe 2 minutes total, maybe even less. And very, very short, but I wanted to go over really what the trade looked like, why I got into the trade, and why I exited, and then things I could have done better today. So we can hop right into it. Again, about $155, trading 5 MNQ contracts. And my original thesis for this morning was we are kind of, if you look at this, we are kind of in a range. We have been for pretty much the top of the range here at like 15.04 and 50. We had a two touches here and then kind of an overnight touch this morning. And then down here at the bottom of the range, we were roughly around like 14.830 at the low from Friday. And so what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at supply zone. We have some demand zones down here, really just like kind of bouncing in between it, which in theory for a supply and demand trading strategy is pretty awesome. But basically after making the decision I did yesterday and getting chopped up in the middle, what I decided was that I wasn't going to make any trades inside of this range. That didn't really seem to make sense. I was looking to either short at supply or long at demand. And or if the market decided to actually break out of this zone. So it ended up breaking out of the zone short today. And so I decided, especially after the jolts news that we had today and the significant selling pressure here in the beginning of the day, I decided to look for short opportunities as we were breaking a 2 to 3 day range downwards, and we are basically continuing the higher time frame bearish trend. So I wanted to look for short positions basically once we broke below this the bottom of this range here, which I was kind of looking at this range from a literal perspective roughly around 14,812, but from more of an even number perspective, more like 14,800. And I want to zoom in a little bit more. Maybe we can go to the 1 minute here. And a couple of the things that I was thinking about this morning. So we didn't reach this supply zone, had some serious selling, and then broke below 1800 around here. And I wanted to zoom in to my only trade this morning at around 1020. And my idea was still roughly look for kind of a lower high and look for a position to go short. So I wanted to break below the 14,800. And we did that. We only got to about 14,770 at the very low here. Let me get in as close as I can. So we had, this was what I was watching, right? So this was kind of a rejection off of the yesterday's low of day, which was almost perfect. Broke below it with, which in hindsight, you could have traded this. I still don't even like that in hindsight. Looking at this, if I'm going to make a trade right here in this demand zone, especially at low of day, and especially considering that we were in a 2 to 3 day range, I would not be shorting this. I would actually be looking for some sort of structure to form in this zone and then take a long position, just considering the past 2 to 3 days of information that we had and not knowing that it was going to sell right through it. So I'm glad I exercised patience here, and we did sell through that area. And I think my issue here, because I did take a short position as we kind of did this kind of did a subtle pullback here. I took the short position here and I set my stop right at the top there. So I didn't get stopped out, but this was a little too slow for me. I was expecting essentially a similar reaction that we had here because we were breaking a pretty significant level. Like I had mentioned, we were breaking below a multi-day range, and so I was expecting a much more significant move. It started to slow up here, and I really didn't like the price action. And in hindsight, I think that's good. I didn't want to get stuck because it just chopped, which is fine. But I'm glad I got out when I did. I took my about $150. It was too slow for my liking. I was looking for something along the lines of this, a little bit more displacement away, trending, but it did end up just chopping. And looking back, I'm pretty glad I didn't sit through that because I really don't want to be sitting through chop, for really unwarranted reasons. In this particular case, had I entered up here, it would have been much better, but maybe set a deeper stop loss, which you could argue maybe you could set a stop. It's pretty high stop loss actually, but you'd have to have. I'm just trying to think of things that I could have done better. Maybe been a little bit more patient. I was looking for essentially a break of that 14,800. What I would have liked to have seen is a deeper break. So, maybe down to, where we're trading right now around like the 14,720 range, and then kind of retest that 14,800 range. I feel like had we traded down and then actually moved our way back up, kind of something like this, maybe this, lower high would have been a perfect opportunity for me to take a short position here and then continue the trend. Obviously, that's not the case. That would have been a perfect play. But again, it is what it is. I took a small scalp. It was about 2 minutes long, got in, got out, and then it just chopped. So fortunately, I didn't do much around this time frame, and it just continued to chop the rest of the day. Really not too many clean setups. This was pretty tough to predict that we were, maybe if there was a little bit level of support right here. I didn't look at this as a supply zone. Maybe on a higher time frame that would have looked a little bit better. But this to me just felt like news. So looking back, just kind of a tough entry. Nothing was as clean as I would have liked. And zooming out, this could have been a decent entry. We had a lot of consolidation here. I would have probably drawn some sort of supply zone right around for this candle right here. That this displacement away, that would have struck me as a supply zone. So maybe you're looking at something like that for an entry point, but I didn't really bother. Nothing seemed clean today. It was just a lot of choppiness, didn't really move a lot, and then chopped for what? This is 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, just kind of chopped sideways. So in my book, I'm not really entertaining anything. So I'm glad I got out green today, kept it really simple, and tried not to overcomplicate it. But, moving forward, maybe what I can start doing is doing these kind of intraday, 5-minute supply zones, probably a 5-minute supply zone, and kind of play longer plays off of that. But again, just a lot of sideways, right? This whole day we didn't. The big move was in the morning, and that being news that early in the morning, I just wasn't comfortable really playing up here because, like I said, I'm still kind of moving along on my apex valuation. So I just need to play simple, not do anything too risky, don't gamble, but stick with the plan, which is, don't trade inside of the range. But it looks as if we are now going to be looking at a new range. So I think that's something to kind of look into. And we're trading into a range that we were trading in last week. But this is potential for an exciting new area because this was the low. Wednesday, the 27th, was the low. And so we may have some pretty interesting things coming up here. If we continue to trade down, and 14,600 is going to be a really interesting level. So I'll keep an eye on that as far as the demand zone is concerned, but still looking for opportunities to get short. We still look pretty bearish in my opinion, but again, I will keep an eye on that. Otherwise, that's all I had today. Just a simple 2-minute trade for $150, and see you guys next time. Peace.